On Wednesday, two prominent teams, 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports, filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR and its CEO, Jim France. This legal action, taken in the Western District of North Carolina in Charlotte, marks a significant escalation in the ongoing dispute over the sport's revenue-sharing model and charter system. 2311 Racing, co-owned by NBA legend Michael Jordan and driver Denny Hamlin, joined forces with Bob Jenkins' Front Row Motorsports to challenge what they claim are monopolistic practices by NASCAR. The lawsuit comes after 2 years of contentious negotiations between NASCAR and its 15 charter-holding organizations in the top-tier Cup Series. The teams allege that NASCAR and the France family, who have controlled the sport since its inception in 1948, have engaged in anti-competitive and exclusionary practices. These practices, according to the lawsuit, have enriched NASCAR at the expense of the team's drivers, sponsors, and fans. At the heart of the dispute is NASCAR's charter system, introduced in 2016. This system was designed to provide teams with a guaranteed entry into races and a share of the sport's revenues. However, the plaintiffs argue that it has failed to create a sustainable business model for team owners. The lawsuit states the France family and NASCAR are monopolistic bullies, and bullies will continue to impose their will to hurt others until their targets stand up and refuse to be victims. That moment has now arrived. The teams have hired Jeffrey Kessler, a renowned antitrust attorney, to represent them in this high-stakes legal battle. Kessler has a track record of successful litigation in the sports world, having represented players in all 4 major North American sports leagues and helped push the NCAA towards allowing paid college athletes. He also won a landmark equal pay settlement for members of the U.S. national women's soccer team.
This is an antitrust case. An antitrust case is a case which argues that the rules of competition are being violated. We have antitrust laws that regulate competition. What we are arguing here is that NASCAR is a monopoly. No surprise to NASCAR fans, there is no alternative to NASCAR, not just in this country, but frankly around the world. And it got its monopoly illegally. And the reason it got it illegally is because it tied up all the racetracks in the country.
The lawsuit seeks details from NASCAR and France related to their exclusionary practices and intent to insulate themselves from any competition. Kessler has indicated that he will ask for a preliminary injunction to allow the teams to compete in 2025 under the new charter agreement while the litigation proceeds. The teams are seeking treble damages for what they claim are anti-competitive terms that have governed the sport since the initial 2016 charter agreement. This could potentially result in a significant financial penalty for NASCAR if the courts rule in favor of the teams. Michael Jordan, known for his fierce competitiveness on the basketball court, has brought that same spirit to his role as a NASCAR team owner. In a statement, Jordan said, "Everyone knows that I have always been a fierce competitor, and that will to win is what drives me and the entire 2311 team each and every week out on the track. I love the sport of racing and the passion of our fans, but the way NASCAR is run today is unfair to teams, drivers, sponsors, and fans. Today's action shows I'm willing to fight for a competitive market where everyone wins." The lawsuit sheds light on the financial challenges faced by NASCAR teams. According to the filing, it costs approximately $18 million per year to run a single chartered team for a full season of Cup Series races, not including driver salaries. This substantial investment has led to a high turnover rate among team owners. Of the 19 team owners who were originally granted charters in 2016, only 8 remain in the sport. The case of Furniture Row Motorsports serves as an example of the financial challenges teams face. The team sold its charter for $6 million at the end of the 2018 season, just 1 year after winning the Cup Series championship. The plaintiffs argue that this is proof that the charter system has left teams without a path to profitability. Front Row Motorsports owner Bob Jenkins has been particularly vocal about the financial struggles teams face. Jenkins claims he has never turned a profit since forming his team in 2005, even in 2021 when his driver Michael McDowell won the prestigious Daytona 500. Jenkins stated, "I have been part of this racing community for 20 years and couldn't be more proud of the Front Row Motorsports team and our success. But the time has come for change. We need a more competitive and fair system where teams, drivers, and sponsors can be rewarded for our collective investment by building long-term enterprise value just like every other successful professional sports league." The law organization has bought a majority of the premier racetracks that are exclusive to NASCAR races. Exclusivity deals with NASCAR-sanctioned tracks. Kendrick, the winningest owner in NASCAR history, stated that he signed only because he was worn down by the negotiations. The lawsuit quotes several unnamed team owners describing the coercive nature of the negotiations. One legal action taken by 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports highlights the lawsuit maintains that NASCAR until 2016 operated under year-to-year put some of the most successful organizations out of business. The lawsuit quotes NASCAR Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson, who has mostly retired as a driver and is now the co-owner of a fledgling Cup. There has never been a case that I have found that is as egregiously anti-competitive as this one. Here we have a sport where one family has basically used its power to create an absolute monopoly for the benefit of that family, as opposed to being for the benefit of the teams, drivers, sponsors, broadcasters, the fans. This monopoly did not happen because of superior product, because of the family's investment, because of their innovation. This monopoly has happened because of illegal monopolistic practices. Kessler further elaborated, where there was a competitor, that competitor was acquired. When there were tracks that would enable another competitor to be formed, those tracks were acquired or subject to agreement that prevented them from being able to be used by any other competitor. When the teams tried to think about forming their own circuit to create competition, the teams were subjected to restrictive covenants to prevent them from doing so.
And it got its monopoly illegally. And the reason it got it illegally is because it tied up all the racetracks in the country. Because it doesn't let any of the teams compete for any other racing circuit. Because it seizes the intellectual property of the next gen cars so that those are locked in to NASCAR. And it engages in all of these restrictions so that the teams have no one else to deal with and the fans have no one else to deal with. What NASCAR then did, because it's run basically as the private enterprise of the France family to benefit them, is use that monopoly to force terms, economic terms on the teams that they barely can afford to be in NASCAR.
The law faced with a take it or leave it offer and no competing opportunity for premier stock car racing in the United States, most of the teams concluded that they had to sign. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to NASCAR Insider and share your insights in the comments below.